Spotswood. This meeting was called for Tuesday, March 17, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. at Borough Hall located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey, pursuant to the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-8B. The public may choose to attend this meeting electronically via Zoom. This meeting was advertised on the Spotswood website and in the Home News Tribune. Now,
roll call. Councilman Larry Kramer.
Here.
Councilman Nicholas Legakis.
Here.
Councilman Chair. Councilman Ed Seeley.
Here.
Council President Andrew Zaborni.
Here.
Mayor Rich O'Brien.
Here. So tonight is a very special night. We have two proclamations. I'd like to begin with Mrs. Schwartz, Councilwoman Schwartz, to read the Women's History Month, please.
Yeah. Okay. My mic's not on. Does that matter? I have a pretty loud voice. Whereas since 1987, the United States has recognized March as National Women's History Month, honoring the achievements, stories, and contributions of women. And whereas women of every race, class, and background have shaped our nation's history, from leading social justice movements and securing civil rights to serving courageously in the military and contributing to our economy, culture, and communities. And whereas women have been at the forefront of the transformative efforts, including the suffrage movement, abolition, labor reform, education, healthcare, and peace initiatives, as well as establishing charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions. And whereas, despite these remarkable contributions, the role of women has often been overlooked in the study and teaching of history. And whereas the color purple symbolizes justice and dignity and is recognized internationally as a tribute to women's achievements and solidarity. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Borough of Spotswood governing body and Mayor O'Brien designate March as Women's History Month and call upon all citizens to honor the legacy and accomplishments of women through programs, ceremonies, and activities that educate, celebrate, and inspire.
Thank you so much. And now I'm going to pass it over to Councilman Legakis, who's liaison to our Spotswood Volunteer Fire Department.
Thank you, Council President. We have a proclamation from the Borough of Spotswood honoring Richard Toomey. Whereas Richard Toomey, as a valued friend of the Borough of Spotswood, and whereas Richard Toomey has demonstrated extraordinary dedication, compassion, and commitment to improving the quality of life for residents of our community, and whereas on the night of February 16th, 2026, he went above and beyond what was expected, dedicating his time, energy, and personal safety for the benefit of others by his heroic actions. Mr. Toomey was in the area of Polonia Street on the above-mentioned night when he smelled the odor of smoke and took it upon himself to investigate. He located the source of the smoke and found a vehicle on fire in the driveway of a residence. Mr. Toomey acted swiftly, waking up the residents inside who were asleep and were unaware of the situation, while also alerting 911 of the incident. He then courageously attempted to put out the flames utilizing only a garden hose found in the area of the fire. Whereas his efforts have positively impacted those residents and our Spotswood Volunteer Fire Department, strengthening the spirit of unity and cooperation within our borough. And whereas his leadership, integrity, and selfless service exemplify the very best qualities of citizenship and serve as an inspiration to all residents of Spotswood. And whereas the Borough Council and Mayor wish to formally recognize and commend his outstanding contribution to our community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Rich O'Brien, Mayor of the Borough of Spotswood, on behalf of the Borough Council, do hereby recognize and applaud Richard Toomey for his exceptional service, unwavering dedication, and heroism in making the Borough of Spotswood a stronger, safer, and more compassionate community. Be it further proclaimed that this proclamation be entered into the official records of the borough, and that a copy be presented to Richard Toomey as a token of our sincere gratitude and appreciation, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the borough of Spotswood to be affixed on this 17th day of March 2026, signed Mayor Richard O'Brien.
Very good. Thank you, Councilman, and congratulations, sir, and thank you for all you do and continue to do for Spotswood.
The meeting.
Thank you to the entire Spotswood Volunteer Fire Department and everybody involved. Thank you, everybody. Oop. Now there's order we have, right?
Feeling a little short?
Yes, there you are. CFO's report, Sean?
Our CFO report is short for this month. We have received the 2024 audit. Our auditor is in attendance at this meeting, and I will defer to him in relation to the contents of the 2024 audit.
Sir?
I have the floor.
Yes, come on up to the podium, help yourself.
My name is Terry Stankiewicz, a CPA, RMA, partner in the firm, Samuel Klein and Company. Our specialty area is municipality, education, sewage authorities, fire districts, et cetera, et cetera. My qualifications and the qualifications of the firm are on file with the Office of the Borough Clerk. Okay, so we were appointed by the board, by the governing body, to do the audit of fiscal year 12/31/24. Okay, and that appointment was made on February 24th of 2025. It's a little unusual being appointed after the year is out. In my experience, we usually get appointed early on. That way we're involved to help with the CFO and the business administrator, so that they can do things during the year that maybe not will surface in the audit, or, you know, we talk a problem through. Okay, I didn't have that case. So, I know it was a transition year for the CFO, and my recollection, there was 3 CFOs last year. One of them was a carryover from the prior administration. But prior to that, there were several CFOs going back to, I guess, 2020 or thereabouts. I'm not here to talk about anything other than what happened in 2024. Okay, so as a result of our audit testing, and by the way, we do samples. I mean, it's not haphazard that we do statistical samples on expenditures, on payroll. Okay, we also audit revenues, and by that I mean we do work on the taxes, we do work on the water sewer, we do work in the court, recreation, construction. We audit every department, office on aging. They keep popping into my head. So we check we do a little bit of sampling in each and every department and trace those records, the receipts, back into the main bank account, the main records of the town. So we had, I believe, all good results from those tests. We had some minor issues in the recreation department, which were not big dollars, but they are disclosed in the audit report. Okay, with regards to expenditures for payroll, we run samples. We look real closely at, you know, several people, not individually, but on a statistical basis. We don't really pick on anybody.
Sure.
Okay, so from there, we had good results. We were comfortable with Christine's work in the payroll area. Okay, so minor issue with some health benefits that for someone who left and went to another town, that should have been picked up and removed from there. We didn't put that in the report. We didn't think it was significant enough, but it needs to be looked at, because I understand this person went to another town and maybe they owe us a few bucks, because I believe it wasn't taken off the health benefits. And at the top of my head, I don't remember his person's name. So the payroll was fine. with regards to health benefits and pension, which relate to that, some of the bills were not paid on a timely basis. Okay, and I think that, origin of that had to do in the earlier part of the year, or maybe it even started in 2023. Again, I'm only here to talk about 2024. Okay, so, but the documentation was all good for all the, payroll. I mean, people were paid in accordance with the contract. People were paid in accordance with, let's say, the hourly people, the timesheets were properly filed. Administration was paid in accordance with the contractual authorization. We always check that. Payroll person was paid properly. We check the CEO, theoretically, the CEO, CFO, and the payroll person, and every time we go, even if it's over and above the sample that we pull. Expenditures. Really four basic things. The expenditures were properly documented. There was compliance with the local public contracts law. You really don't bid a lot of things here, you know, a road project, maybe some water work, but there's not a lot that's bid. A lot of stuff is bought under state contract, which is a good thing. State contract is either, you know, through the state or a buying co-op, authorized and approved by the state. That eliminates your need to go to bid. It eliminates the administrative requirements that you need to write bids and specs. For example, there's a product out like a truck, okay, you know, Ford, whatever it is, you know, they have them somewhere, an agreed upon price, okay? And, you know, you buy it, if you have the funds available, obviously you buy it. So that worked out very well. And then the bills were cut off. We look at the cutoff too. There was some minor errors in cutting the bills off, but they weren't significant dollar amounts in the audit world, okay? But there was little things that should have been charged to, let's say, 24, that got charged to 25. We've given that list to Mr. Kemp to correct those before the 25 books are closed out. That way, it's not, there were 24 charges that, and by the way it works in municipal in New Jersey, the 24 books are still open with regards to expenditures. Any bills that pop through in 25 that weren't encumbered or accounted for in 24, okay, or misaccounted for in 25, can be thrown back against 24. We don't reopen the books. It's just that the 2024 appropriations stay open until December 31st, and then they close out. Any excess money is what called lapses into fund balance. It's like a product. So that all worked out very well. So as a result of our audit work, okay, we give an opinion. Now, keep in mind, the financial reporting for the municipality is not that of a corporation, okay, or a not-for-profit organization. There's specific rules for New Jersey municipalities. It's called the modified accrual basis. We recognize income when actually received, okay, and expenditures when incurred and or authorized, okay. So little different corporate model. We don't recognize depreciations. We don't accrue health, but we don't accrue, sick and vacation. We're required to account for them, okay, but we don't have to authorize. We don't factor them in, and that's all built into the notes to the financial statement. So as a result, we have what's called the regulatory basis of accounting, which is the modified accrual. We have a clean opinion. The financial reporting in the world here in this country is based on GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. We don't follow that. We have, in our opinion, the fact that we follow the regulatory basis, we have an unmodified opinion, but we disclaim an opinion on GAAP because we're not required to follow it. But somebody sitting in Wall Street or somewhere else and looking at our financials, which by the way are publicly available, we have to disclose that to them because we don't follow accounting on a corporate model that everyone is really accustomed to. So we have an unmodified opinion, okay? We did have, and I think it's all transitional related. We had some, as all of you see, some rather lengthy comments and recommendations. And we encapsulated them into a couple different areas so as to minimize the number of recommendations that have to be dealt with, which I believe you have a plan of action tonight. You know, we basically said that all expenditure procedures need to be reviewed, okay? All payroll expenditures need to be reviewed, okay? And then we have a lot of what's called interfunds. That really, again, I believe were transitional in nature. There was money due from one fund to the other fund that should have been minimized. And it wasn't. They're rather extensive and they need to be dealt with. The problem with interfunds is that if money leaves the current fund and doesn't come back before year end, you're taking a charge, meaning an expense. And one of the bigger problems was that Mr. Kemp inherited was there was a very large interfund from the general capital fund. And inside the general capital fund, the reason that existed was because they ran out of cash. Otherwise, there should have been bond anticipation notes issued to finance some of these ordinances that drained the cash from the general capital fund. Otherwise, there would not have been an general fund advance charge. Then the only place to get the cash from, other than the bank, was from the current fund. That was a rather significant charge, I think in either 22 or 23. Some of that came back, I believe, in a bond anticipation note sale that drew the allowable cash down on those ordinances to finance previously incurred expenses, cash of which came from the current fund, which now has to go back. Correct? Okay, I don't remember the number, but I seem to think it was $700,000 or $800,000 that had to come back in.
889,000.
Okay. So yeah, the interfunds are critical, and it just needs to be paid attention to. Again, I think transitional in nature. There's a lot of other comments in here that I indicate. Some of the old reserves, receivables need to be reviewed for cancellation. And by the way, if you check with any of my clients, some of these comments appear in every single audit that I sign. Okay, reserves, review them. Because some of the reserves, there could be sitting money that could be sitting in fund balance that you could use to do other things with. But unless you cancel them by resolution, okay, it's not. Is it a lot of money? Not really, but it's a couple bucks here, there, and you could buy a truck if you needed to, but with the money without having to finance it. So there's reserves, receivables, any improvement, all that stuff needs to be reviewed. Okay, and part of the problem going back to the interfunds was there was a lot of maybe 5 or 6 ordinances that go back over 5 years, for which we need to get the cash from the DOT. And my understanding is the 2 gentlemen there are trying to work on getting that money back, because again, the cash was drained out of the general capital fund, okay, to pay the vendors, but no one ever went after the DOT money. Okay, that's cash that belongs to us here, and that's going to help replenish things. So that's a comment that I have. What else? So I indicate some of the pension and health benefits bills were paid late, okay, which is not a good thing, okay? And I don't know if we're gonna get penalized, I doubt it, but again, some of the stuff, again, transitional in nature. Account coding, this is one that bothers me. There was charges to the current fund. General administration for dog control, animal control, that's, no. There was legal bills charged to the police department of other expenses that are not, in my mind, allowable charges to police. So they should have been charged to legal, okay? And then water sewer, purchase of water. We have a line item in water sewer that I believe was $500,000, but the true expense was of $750,000. They were charged to other expenses. Well, how it matters is, I mean, it's an allowable charge to for water to other expenses, but you have a line item called water. Where what it matters is financial planning, okay, and looking at results of operation. Looking at this audit, you would never know that, you would think that you pay $500,000 for water, but you really pay like $780 or $750. So that's why coding matters. Okay, so I have a comment in the report about that. And there was some over expenditures. Again, he wasn't here, I wasn't here, but there was a line item in the budget for interest on notes that was, struck when you did the budget, and by time, let's see, by the time you adopted your budget, it was already too late because they already had the note sale. The note sale takes place in May, and the proper amount of interest was not set up in the budget. Okay, but you got to pay it. You can't not pay the bank, so you pay the bank. Okay, that was $29,000. What else? From my taste, there was a lot of reconciling items on the bank recs. We checked a lot of them out to see that they were appropriate. Hopefully they resolve themselves. Reconciling items resolve themselves subsequent to year end. But again, we have a comment that where we talk about reserves and all that is the same thing for reconciling items. They need to be addressed. They can't linger for too long. Okay, what else? Foreclosed property. I'm sorry, I have to laugh at this one. There was a detail. Prior auditors indicated there was no detail of foreclosed property. Well, it was sitting on the shelf in the tax collector's office in a book called foreclosed property register. So we removed that comment, but the thing with foreclosed property is this. It's not supposed to sit for long as foreclosed property. You're supposed to get it back on a tax paying basis sooner than later. But my recollection is from several years ago that there was foreclosed property and there was property that had assessment liens on it. That a governing body, I can't even tell you when, Barry may have been the mayor, and what happened was they did a study. They found out that a lot of those properties are underwater, not in the financial sense, but literally underwater, and they're not salvageable. Okay, so it's having the foreclosed property on the books that has no potential value. Someone needs to look at those properties. I had a conversation with Fred, maybe the assessor needs to go around and make a determination. Okay, because if they're worthless, I mean, it would have to be a drought for 3 years before those properties cleaned up, but to have $2.5 million foreclosed property at a set value on the books is a little misleading. And in the old days, the state used to come after you if they noticed that you had foreclosed property on the books to them and said, what are you doing? What are you doing to get it back on the, on proper, get on a tax paying basis? So, we found the delinquent charges on taxes to be appropriate. We found a little boo-boo in the water sewer. It was questionable. The number of days in the ordinance were not properly conveyed to the software company, or they were misconveyed sometime in either 22 or 23. That has since been fixed, okay, for taxes. Okay, no, for water short, I'm sorry. Here in Spotswood, you have a 33-day. It's really not a grace period. It says bills are due 33 days from now, okay, when the bill leaves. That needs to be cleaned up, okay? And also to part of that in the water ordinance and sewer ordinance, and for taxes and for water, there is a delinquency provision, okay, for water. There's a sewer rate in there, but there's no provision for it. I mean, you pass a resolution at reorg authorizing that, but the ordinance needs to be cleaned up to make it more consistent because it's not in the ordinance. But in my mind, the resolution suffices. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the ordinance, but if that's your policy, put it in there. So in the end, I've tried to, I know we had a rather extensive exit conference on this audit, and in the end, we end up with 3 recommendations. One has to do with enforcing procedures for expenditures. The other one has to do with enforcing procedures for payroll, and the other one has to do with minimizing interfund advance charges. So we had, again, because how the records were, okay, we had a little tough time trying to get them lined up and get the annual financial statement from 24 lined up properly. Okay, we got it done. It took a while. It was a little late. Okay, and the state was aware of all of this activity. I have a dialogue with the state. The person I have a dialogue with retired, but they were aware that we were a little behind and that there were some issues that needed to be resolved. So, and again, in the end, we have a clean opinion and we have 3 audit recommendations. So you have a plan of action that you're adopting this evening. And I think also you have to sign a certification that indicates that you have, in fact, you may not agree with the audit, but you have in fact read the audit, okay, and the recommendations. So I'm here if there's any questions. We celebrated St. Patrick's Day in my house, so I don't have to be home.
Thank you so much for all your hard work. Questions from the council, please.
Actually, I do have a question, Jerry. In your review of 2024, was there anything questionable about the legal billing?
No,
Okay,
I looked at all the legal bills.
okay.
With proper documentation. Now, we have lawyers up here. I don't question, there's time booked, there's dates, descriptions and amounts. Okay. I was aware of there might have been some issues, but I looked at all of them. Okay. And, everything was properly documented. Okay. And again, as a guy that had to keep a timesheet for all these years, I know sometimes you can get a little aggressive, or you can make a mistake or a boo-boo, or you worked on one client and you put a different code on there. That can happen, okay? So, but we don't get into, we see the invoice, we see the time, we see it adds up, hours times the rate. There's nothing that I saw. So,
Thank you.
Anyone else, please?
I have a question. In the cap, I am seeing recommendations for payroll and for salary and wages. Did you actually compare payroll and salary and wages and how they went out to the salary ordinance for that year?
We did a test and our testing for the authorized salaries proved no.
How do you do that test, if you don't mind me
We
asking?
we have, okay, so there's January 1st through December 31st, let's say there's 8,000. There's not payroll checks anymore, 8,000 transactions, okay? So we get a random sample, we might sample 35 or 40, spread out over the year, and for that particular transaction, we look to see that the base pay was proper, that any overtime was properly documented, okay? That everything was done in accordance with the contracts, okay? So, or management contract, collective bargaining, we checked all that, yes.
But that, how significant is that statistically, 35 out of 8,000, let's say?
That means the industry standards, okay? I don't know if it was 8,000, but I'm just saying.
Just saying, I was.
You know,
curious as
it's done in accordance with,
as far as-
industry standards. There are standards, we have these services that every firm uses, okay? And, like, I don't remember, but probably you have around 100 people working here, okay? And you have 26 pays, so maybe there was 3,000 paychecks. 35 is not out of line.
Okay,
It's a little different because if most people are on base pay, like for example, I know if you're a teacher, I audit school districts, they're easier than any because most people are on base pay.
Right.
And the extra pay, yeah, is all documented, coaching soccer,
right.
league club, chess club, all that.
I was just
We check.
curious as to how many stipends were paid out that weren't actually on the salary ordinance.
We found all the documentation to be proper.
Okay.
And my guy spent a lot I don't actually do the work, but my guy spends a lot of time here. He was given carte blanche with no time limitations.
So, thank you for explaining everything. For the public, but also for myself, what's the timeline on an audit? Because we're looking at 24, yes, there, right, and then we're in 26.
Right.
So what's the timeline? So it's done every year, every other?
So it's this, for example, they just changed the law. It's now due August 31st. Okay, and we're starting to do some of the accounting work. Okay, we're closing out the records for all the municipalities. So I would expect we'll be on time. Okay, this year. It's just I was appointed late. Okay, and most of these audits, if they run 350 hours, you look, you don't turn an audit away. Okay, you really don't. And so we got a little bit delayed by that, but we were also delayed by the late closeout of the records, which took place, I think, sometime in midsummer or thereabouts, okay? Was also a further delay because the situation that you passed a resolution on, I believe, on February 26th, authorizing an application to the LFB. I have a significant note in here because that situation is what we call is a significant, potentially adverse event. Okay, so I waited a little bit because I wanted to see the passing of that. And I have wording in here to that. I have a note to financial audit, okay? So that was it. But the timeline usually, lately, what has happened in the whole business is this, because the state releases pension and health benefits information late, okay? Firms can't react quick enough to issue their report on time, okay? But we don't expect that to happen here this year, okay? We're chipping away at 25 right now. But it was a little difficult getting the ball rolling. We did get, by the way, cooperation from all your employees, okay, in upstairs and all the departments. But the timeline is that they used to be due. It's crazy. It used to be due May 31st. Then they made it July 31st, and then they took all the delays off because of this information that did not come out of the Division of Pensions regarding health benefits, post-retirement, and pension. Not post-retirement, retirement benefits. Post-retirement means something bad. It would be post-employment. Okay, so for both pension and both PF and PERS. So that information, by the way, is contained in here. It's some serious numbers that theoretically the borough is on the hook for, in theory. Okay, because it's based on actuarial evaluations, mortality rates, discount rates. It's in here. But yeah, I mean that was the delay. They kind of changed that and realized that you know, oh, wait a minute now, we can't get these deadlines complied with because everyone's waiting for data. So
Were extensions asked?
they don't, for the record, they do not, and I mentioned this too, I believe. They don't have extensions. They don't approve extensions. The statutory deadline is the statutory deadline. They understand that some places are still late, and there are some 24 audits still outstanding. Okay, but usually there's an extenuating circumstance. Okay, actually, there was 8 of them about a month ago, 7 of which are my firm. All of 7 of them, and not including this one, because when that came out, this was all ready to go. One of them, I'm waiting for the data to show up from the CFO for 24. And other ones are rather large cities in North Jersey that time. Okay, so, but we take the heat, you know, where's the audit? Well, we're waiting for this, we're waiting for this, we're waiting for this. That's par for the course for Essex County, so to speak. But we don't, you know, I don't expect it late this year, you know, re-familiarize ourselves with the operation here. So we're moving along.
Councilwoman?
So you don't anticipate an issue with the 2025, yet we're in the middle of this debacle.
That's a different issue though.
That
We don't
would
anticipate.
affect the 2026 audit? I
Oh,
mean,
it could, yeah.
but
It's
you
just,
don't anticipate it affecting the 2025?
oh yeah, it happened in 25.
Yeah, that's
Oh
why.
yeah, absolutely. But right now, it's not booked, it's a note to financial. In 25, it'll be booked, okay, on the financial records. There's a big difference. Note to financial is like, okay, this happened, but it wasn't significant enough to book. See, if it was a corporation, something would have been booked retroactive, but not in municipal. It doesn't get booked retroactive.
The repercussions and everything of what happened in 25 really are not going to take place until 2026. Whatever it may be.
Yeah,
So it'll be the
and once-
2026 audit.
Once it's resolved, it hopefully gets better, but, you know, there's an accounting issue that, I need to deal with when we issue the audit or when we do the financial statement.
Administration, any questions, comments, anything?
Thank you, Jerry, for the work. Just for the benefit of the public, when we took office in 25, that's when we learned the 24 audit was never commissioned. And that's when we appointed Jerry's firm in February of 25. So thank you for the work.
No.
You good?
Thank you so much, sir.
I'm always around if there's any questions.
We might have some questions later throughout our caucus, but yeah, I don't know, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. Sean, this was your CFO segment. Do you have any other to add? Thank you so much, Mr.
Okay, no problem.
Appreciate it so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Lee, engineer report.
Thank you, Council President. On behalf of the Borough Engineers Office, I submit tonight's report. For item number 1, the 2024 NJDOT roadway improvements of Gober, Daniel, and Vaughn. Our office will have a meeting with Discover Construction late next week to establish a project schedule. This meeting will confirm project timelines and coordination requirements. For items number 2 and 3, there are no updates. For item number 4, the Willard Clark Circle Crescent Avenue Drainage Survey, our office has completed the concept plan. We have reviewed with the administration and are determining the next steps moving forward for design. And for item number 5, the Main Street Summerhill Road water valve improvements. Office is working on the design to add additional water valves along the Summerhill Road water main near the Main Street intersection. This allows this area to have the water main isolated if any repairs are necessary.
Thank you so much, sir. Any questions for engineer?
When can we see the report for number 4? For Willard Court?
I'd be happy to share it with you and meet with you about it for sure. Absolutely.
Anyone else? Thank you so much. We have several ordinances and resolutions for tonight. Ms. Helen?
Thank you, Council President. Ordinance 2026-05. This is the second reading, public hearing, and adoption. An ordinance of the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 72 Fees, Article 1, Schedule of Fees, Section 72-5, Fee Schedule Report and Construction Permit Fees. Ordinance 2026-06. This is a first reading, introduction, and the public hearing is scheduled for April 20th, 2026. An ordinance amending and supplementing the salary ordinance of the Borough of Spotswood entitled An Amendment to an Ordinance Fixing and Establishing the Salaries and Wages of Certain Non-Bargaining Unit Employees of the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey. Resolutions under consent agenda this evening include Resolution 67. Resolution authorizing the hiring of a program administrator for the winter indoor soccer 2026 season for the Spotswood Recreation Department. 2026-73. Resolution pursuant to NJSA 48:4-39 and NJSA 40A:5-29, requesting approval of dedicated revenues for the Community Events and Celebration Trust Fund. 2026-84, resolution authorizing the cancellation of taxes for a totally disabled veteran at Block 11, Lot 10 for tax year 2026 and thereafter, and refunding taxes paid. 2026-85, governing body certification of the 2024 municipal annual audit. 2026-86, authorizing the execution of a fair and open contract for risk management and insurance brokerage services. 2026-87, approval of payment of bills. 2026-88, resolution extending a conditional offer of employment to Angel Osius as full-time sanitation laborer for the Department of Public Works. 2026-89, resolution accepting the corrective action plan for the 2024 municipal audit. 2026-90, resolution of the Borough Council of the Borough of Spotswood to provide for the transfer of year 2025 budget appropriations. 2026-91, resolution accepting a donation to the Borough of Spotswood Emergency Medical Services Program. 2026-92, resolution for temporary emergency appropriation. 2026-93, addendum to the payment of bills.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Council, do we have any to discuss here? And I also just want to make a note that ordinance 04 was tabled. It's still on the table, but certainly on our list here for discussion. Questions? Discussions.
Yeah, I do. I'm concerned about ordinance 2026-06. There's quite a few recommendations in a CAP plan for payroll and salaries. And I'm recommending that administration go through the salary ordinance again and make sure that it is up to date and correct and matches every salary that is being paid at this time. Because I don't want to have another capital all of that recommendation in it. So I'd like it to be pulled, and I'd like the administration to review it one more month, just to be sure that it's accurate before we vote on it again. Because this will be the second salary ordinance that we're, right? So that, it's my recommendation.
So you're going to have it pulled. Anyone else?
I'd like to add, and I agree with Councilwoman Schwartz, I request that, can we get an update on all of the positions on the salary ordinance and what those positions are currently making? So that we can see what the, where we are in the range.
Yes.
Thank you.
But to the councilwoman's question, we had done this already. So you're asking for us to do it again?
I am.
Okay.
Now with Councilman Legakis's request, I would like to do it as well. I would like to compare the salary ordinance to the list of salaries that he's requested. I'd like the time to look at that before I vote on this.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Because if we put it up tonight and it needs to be changed, if somebody finds something, then it needs to be amended, and then we need to start all over again. I think that at this point, a little bit of extra attention to detail wouldn't necessarily hurt us.
Okay, so I understand the ask. So for this, we're asking beneath it, every employee in that title and what they're currently making.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we can do that.
So would that be pulled? How would we operate that, please?
Well, you do it during the regular meeting, someone can just pull, table it for the time being.
I'll take a vote to table.
Okay.
Motion second and then roll call to table.
On that note, then, because one of the lines in there is the resolution authorizing program administrator for winter indoor soccer on that as well. So that was a line in that ordinance, which
We would need to pull that.
we would need to pull that resolution on 67 as well.
We'll table that in regular.
Does anyone have comment on that besides what I just said? I know you just made a statement, Councilwoman. We would need to pull that to you.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree, absolutely.
Okay. 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 So to be clear, it'll be 67 just as well. I do want to talk about 73 to 2026 73. You know, there's so many of these trust fund lines and so many areas of monies that we're able to utilize rather than opening up another trust just for celebration events on that. So I'm no stranger to what I'm going to vote on that one if it stays. But my recommendation is just to not even bother with it. You have so many other lines that were shown that are able to be used to create another line on top of a line on top of a line. It's just very redundant, especially with the cause of the audit. My concern is just too many. So that's my statement on it, but if everybody wants to move forward with it, I'm a no, so.
Is it in line?
It sets up a line that is strictly dedicated to the celebration of public events and community events, but whatchamacallit, there is a like-minded line, so we can put it there. So
What is the like-minded line?
there's another celebration of borough events, so.
So what's the difference between the one that already exists and this one that you want us to create?
Well, this one is, what's the name, strictly guided by the statutes reference NJSA 48:4-39 and NJSA 48:5-29. In terms of the prior trust rider, I don't believe that it was authorized by statute. That's why I adopted this one.
And what about, so if this one,
So I will provide the DLGS, approved dedication by riders at the next meeting. And then from there, we'll do a cleanup of all of our trust riders. So anything that is not authorized by DLGS, will either adopt a new resolution authorizing that trust rider, or we'll be doing a resolution to cancel those trust riders.
Yeah, just some,
So that will be at the
Yeah.
meeting as a cleanup operation.
right, especially after this audit and whatnot. So again, redundancy is not always for me. Redundancy doesn't always work in a line item in a budget, so, but that's my opinion.
But I'm sorry, but with that, Sean, we will include the statutes that we have to include
Yeah.
when we clean it up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else on any other on our resolutions, ordinances to discuss? On the fair execution of fair and open contract risk management, 86, insurance broker services. When, where, how? Like how, if this passes, authorized fair, like what is more detail on that for me? Where, when, how? Like how does this work? Is this an RFP? Is this something that goes out on number 86 resolution, please? Just a little more explanation for me, please. Thanks.
So, as we explained last week, Council President, we already have a company called Pinrisk, along with Statewide, who is our risk manager. They were held over from last year. We did not appoint them at the reorganization. They were undergoing a reorganization with the broker who had served the town for 5 or 6 years. He is no longer with Pinrisk by default. Pinrisk has been doing the work since that day for for all year, but they need to be formally appointed in accordance with the statewide requirements, and that's why it's back on the agenda.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I'm sorry, I have one other thing.
Of course.
Resolution 2026-80. No, 90, I apologize. We're doing a budget appropriation again. This will be the last month that we will be allowed to do that, is that correct?
Correct.
So the money that you're transferring over right now, what happens if our budget is not approved with everything that is going on right now? What happens in next month or the following month if you're not moving enough money over? By law, you're only allowed to do budget appropriations for 3 months.
By law, we were able to do budget transfers for the last 2 months of the fiscal year and the first 3 months of the succeeding fiscal year. My office has been working extensively with department directors to identify their 2025 expenses that are still hanging out. We believe that this transfer will satisfy those expenditures in the event that we do encounter a 2025 expenditure that was not previously appropriated for, then I'll have no choice but under the law than to appropriate in the temporary emergency appropriation or the introduced budget or the adopted budget, prior year bill appropriation on it.
Okay, and it won't affect salaries and wages and insurance and pension and things like that, as far as not having enough.
No, so this budget transfer is done after extensive analysis of where we are and what bills have been presented to the finance department. So in relation to the Department of Law, there were additional bills from our esteemed attorney that were not accounted for when we were preparing the 2025 budget. And as we did our budget transfers, snow recovery, we had an extensive snow event, two that I can think of, one which was practically a blizzard. So that's why we're doing a transfer to that snow recovery trust to make sure that we have sufficient funds to cover the costs that were incurred from there. As well as street lighting, telephone, gas, heat, utility bills have increased significantly over the last year with anticipated additional increases coming in 2026 and going into 2027.
Right, but I see that you are pulling quite a bit of money from salary and wages lines, so I'm concerned if this is by law, technically the last time you're allowed to do this. And something happens and this budget is not prepared, where does that leave, we're not leaving it?
With respect to that, all these transfers are between 2025 budget.
Okay,
So this is not a 2026 budget transfer, this is a 2025 appropriation reserve transfer.
thank you.
So the salary and wages accounts, just to clarify, these are salary and wages accounts that no longer have any activity going into 2026.
Got it, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you so much.
I'm getting better at this.
At this time, I'd like to have a motion to open to the public.
Make a motion to open to the public?
All in favor?
Aye. The public comment portion of the Spotswood Borough Council meeting is to allow the public to bring to council's attention their concerns or comments in accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A, as well as Spotswood Borough Ordinances 2-18 and 2-19, except upon consent of the council president. Each person addressing the council in the case of the resolution shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes, and in case of an ordinance shall limit their remarks to 5 minutes total for the meeting. No person shall direct any remark or question any specific council member except by permission of the council president. Any council member through the council president may choose to answer a question, but they are not obligated to do so. All persons wishing to address the council shall do so from the podium or other location specified by the council president. Each person addressing the council must identify themselves by name and address. If said person is representing a business or organization, they shall further state whether their comments are their personal view or those of the group they represent. And just a statement by me, Andrew Zaborny, last month, we had quite a long time, which is fantastic, but please remember to discuss and stay to the what's on our agenda over here, kindly please, and we may open up. Thank you so much for coming. You're doing well, welcome.
Just a couple quick questions.
Name and address, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Julian Lewis, Old State Road. First question in reference to the ordinance that's table 2604. We're borrowing $3.4 million, correct?
3.4, yes.
I have our insurance policy in front of us. Declaration page says We are insured for $1 million for funds transfer fraud. Can I get some clarification on that? If we did make a claim on that and what the status of the claim is?
Yeah, I can respond to that, Mr. Boas. We did make a claim right after the incidents occurred back in 2025. That claim is still pending. I believe the insurance carrier is waiting to see what happens with the investigation by the Middlesex County prosecutor. But the limit is $1 million for cyber theft.
With a $7,500 the other thing I'm looking in the policy, and this is what I wanted clarification with when I spoke to the email. And I believe I may have misread something on it. On page 3 or 13, section 2, agreements A1 and A2 do not cover bonded employees. If the loss is caused by any employee required by law to have an individual bond. Are employees required to have an extra individual bond on top of the insurance policy that we have?
I don't
Does that
believe so.
apply to this particular?
No, I don't believe so, Mr. Lewis. I think with the bonding, there is a surety that's covered in the policy. And I'll let Mr. Carr want to jump in as well, because I know he lives with this. But that only covers in the event that there's a theft by an employee. And that's where
The investigation determines that this was a theft, their bonding insurance would.
Yeah, but I received no indication in my discussions with the prosecutor that there was any theft of any funds by any municipal employee.
And my second and last question, resolution 2673. Requesting approval of dedicated, I'm sorry, that one. 2667, the hiring of a program administrator for the winter indoor soccer. Was that job posted?
How did that go about? Because that was all the confusion on that, because I don't recall seeing. If you would be so kind.
I'll have to get back to you on that one. I don't recall if we posted it. If we did, it would have been internally because it was picked up. So we'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay, but we make sure that that's posted in accordance with the law.
Certainly,
Okay, if required, thank you.
certainly. And just for clarity, there's a website coordinator position I've been following also that it was internally posted and now waiting for the external posting. So I am following those.
Good evening. Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you. My first question has to do with resolution 2026. Oh, excuse me, Charles Hager, 65 Herman Drive. My first question is dealing with resolution 2026-85. This is the municipal audit. Some specific questions on the audit itself. First question is on page 17 of the audit. The comparative statement of assets and liabilities. Jerry Stankiewicz during his presentation mentioned the property acquired for taxes. It's showing a taxable balance of property that the borough now possesses that it foreclosed upon of $2.533 million. I understand, for instance, I was on the council. Part of this is the Bow Lake. But it has a very low assessed value. Part of it actually is your street, Mayor, because the right of way for Hudson was a foreclosure on a piece of property at one point, but those would have to be excluded. There are also certain undersized lots in that inventory that would have to be excluded. But this is a very valuable asset. 2.533 million, Mayor, or excuse me, Council President, may I direct it to the mayor?
Certainly.
Our equalization ratio 0.63.
I think I'm sorry, Chuck. I think on the website, it's the state website, it's posted at 54.31. But we're not sure that's the most current number. So we have an inquiry into Dave because we'd like to post it on our own website.
If it is, it makes it even more so. Value of $2.5 million in rateables. If you use the equalization factor, it comes to over $4 million. If you
So, and actually, more than 5 million if it's the number that's reported on the state website. $5 million in potential foreclosure properties that can be sold, be put back on the tax records. Granted, with certain exclusions of some of the properties we discussed. Very valuable asset. You're looking at a very major financial situation. But if you dedicate, for instance, the funds that you receive from the foreclosure property sales, paying off the note that you're going to be taking out potentially to cover the 3.4 or $5 million loss. You can actually pay this back without putting the burden on the taxpayers here in Spotswood. So I would ask you to really take a look at what's in that folder. I kind of can envision the book from 40 years ago that Gene Gretsch established sitting on that shelf. And I told you some of the properties that have to be excluded from it, but there are many assets in there. We did this once before and we utilized quite a bit of money into the borough coffers at another time when we had a major financial situation in the past. So I would ask you to take a look at it. Next question on the audit, same page, total assets. This is basically liquid assets or these property assets, $8.9 million bottom of the page. The liabilities on the next page show about $2 million in liabilities. So starting the year, the borough had approximately $7 million in assets. Question on page 53 of the audit. Remaining borrowing power, 23,910,000. Does that number carry over to the current? This is at the close of 2024. Is our borrowing power still 23,900,000?
Our borrowing power is in a light position. I do not have the annual debt statement with me, but I also that's.
But it is in the neighborhood of over 20 million. Okay. Then lastly, New Jersey statute 48:5-4 requires audits filed with the municipal clerk within 6 months of the close of the fiscal year. That statute, as Jerry pointed out, was just recently amended, extending it 2 months. We have a situation where the audit for 2024 is 8.5 months beyond the statutory deadline. I know we can't do anything to change the past, but my question, and Jerry was alluding to also, are we sure we can meet the statutory deadlines for the 2025 audit? Is everything being done within the scope of our abilities at this point, so we don't go through the cycle again?
Eric?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So, you know, you were away during previous meetings when we talked about what happened in 24. So just briefly, you know, we didn't know until February that there was no 2024 audit being done. So that caused a significant delay. So in terms of 2025 audit, as Jerry said tonight, we're already starting that. The next step is to do our AFS. Once we get that done, they've already gathered some of the documentation for 25. So our hope is that we'll get it done by August 31st. That's our intent. So, but he also pointed out there are situations where municipalities go beyond that, but I certainly do not ever want to repeat a 9-month delay in getting an audit done. My next question has to do with an ordinance that you have now decided to table. That's the salary ordinance. These questions may sound like deja vu, but it's just getting worse. The chief of police is to have the salary range for the chief of police in Spotswood going up to $225,000. I checked the current
salary of the New Jersey Superintendent of Police, and it's $187,000. He's head of the federal Secret Service. The U.S. Secret Service salary is capped at $220,000. So you will have a salary ordinance if you adopt this, where the chief of police in Spotswood will be making more than the head of the National Secret Service or the head of the New Jersey State Police.
But he's already making that.
Next question, you have a resolution on here for the temporary emergency appropriation. When is the council actually getting the 2026 budget?
Until the borough goes before the local finance board and knows what our bonding ability is, we cannot introduce the budget, but without knowing what's the fiscal.
Budget detail for various departments be shared with the council so the council can start reviewing particular departments.
So that is already being worked on, and we hope to be submitted to council within very soon.
Very soon means when? Okay. Okay. That's sounded a little better.
So Chuck, I've got the, if you go to my office, you drive by, you see these 10 budget books sitting on the council table. I've got 25 tabs. I'm waiting on 3 from the finance officer, and then the council will have the documents, the input, if you will, so that they can review them by department.
I know it's been 42 years since I sat on this governing body, but we used to get the budget books as council members January 1st. And we would start our review of departments immediately. So we would always be on time in reference to adopting the budget within, again, those statutory limitations. This council is now already a quarter of a year done, and you're adopting an emergency budget for the first half of the year. So your discretion for review is basically cut in half, and your power as a council is solely controlled with those. My next question has to do with another ordinance that is tabled. And this is the ordinance in reference to the funding of the shortage. I'm wondering if that ordinance can be amended, specifically including language to incorporate insurance proceeds, any grants received, or any other recoveries, or a dedicated payment, for instance, from the foreclosure sales. If you actually incorporate limitation language in the ordinance, that any money that's collected under any of those must be paid into paying down the indebtedness. This again will make sure that the taxpayers only pick up what can't be covered. The way it is currently worded is pretty much open.
And you mean on 04, is that the one you're talking about? So
I'm talking about 2026-04.
Thank you.
Yes. There was a comment by Mr. Lewis in reference to the $1 million limit on our cyberspace. I'm wondering if we can also stack potential insurance coverage on this, so that you have $1 million coverage there. What would be the other insurance areas that you would stack on top of that $1 million for potential recovery?
I could probably answer that, Chuck. I mean, there may be general liability insurance, that might kick in as well.
And that limitation is how much?
I don't have the policy in front of me, but I'm sure it's probably in excess of the 1 million for sure. But there is a specific limitation on cyber theft, but I can't rule out that there couldn't be stacking, as you suggested.
And not only stacking within the borough's policies, but also the Board of Education
Correct.
policies.
Correct.
So if we could kind of get a good number as to what our insurance coverage is. I asked this before I left. I was gone for almost 3 months. So I'm asking you to do that, and I would like to get that number if I could.
Chuck, there's more than one line of coverage. Cyber is one, criminal attack is one. There's several lines that our risk provider is looking at. We've made a public commitment here that any recoveries we receive will go towards paying down the debt. The same commitment was made by the Board of Education publicly. So that is our intent, and that is what we're going to do.
And I appreciate the commitment. I would also like that in the ordinance language as a specific requirement of the passage of the ordinance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I just want to make a note that I don't think it was announced that April 8th, I believe, is the next meeting for the LMB. Is that correct? If we could just update the public on it, am I correct?
Sure. For the benefit of the audience. So we were originally scheduled to go before a local finance board on March 11th and ask them to hear our application for short-term and then longer-term financing that we've been talking about to address the shortfall to the Board of Education. We were taken off that schedule. Last week, we had a conference call with local finance boards, secretary, the director of local government service, and other staff members. Mr. Sachs and our team were on the call. We answered some questions relative to insurance, similar questions that were asked here tonight. We also addressed the fact and provided them with our 2024 audit. We are now on the schedule for a local finance board on April 8th. They will be hearing our application. We are going in asking for a 15-year payback on the $3.4 million we seek in order to make the Board of Education whole. So that's what we know at the moment.
Thank you. And at the April 20th meeting, we'll be coming back with everything to discuss and put it out there. So, thank you for that moment.
All right.
Welcome. Name and address, please.
Jennifer San Marco, 14 Nicholas Court. So I'm gonna be quick today, I hope. Here we are again, facing another financial issue in the town. At the last meeting, we were told that the 2024 audit would be completed and accepted by the local finance board. Since then, that meeting was postponed, and residents are now hearing that the audits may have been rejected. Now we're looking at a possible state involvement. There's a pattern here, and at the center of it is the town's financial management. I understand that personnel matters cannot be discussed publicly, but what can be discussed is accountability and what this town plans to do moving forward. Because right now, taxpayers are being asked to absorb $3.4 million loss with very little clarity or reassurance. We are also in a position where, from what residents understand, replacing key financial personnel may not even be realistic due to the condition of the town's finances. That should be a concern for everyone. It's no longer just about one situation. It's about whether our system has the safeguards in place to prevent this from happening again. When financial management problems reach this point where outside professionals are reluctant to work here with this town, that should be a wake-up call for the system that we need to reform. Right now, it appears that most administrative authority, including financial oversight and personnel decisions, rests with the mayor's office. When something goes wrong at this level, the council and the taxpayers seem to have very little recourse. When millions of taxpayer dollars are at stake, oversight should not rest in a single office. There should be shared accountability. Now, I wrote that before listening to everything, obviously. I really would like some clarity on what happened with the local finance board. Why was the meeting rejected? Was it because of the 2024 audit? Was there something done wrong?
You're asking the mayor?
I'm asking her wrong.
Okay. Mayor, do you want to?
I'll take it.
Thank you.
Local finance board decided that they wanted some additional information from us. So they took us off the March 11 schedule. They have not rejected our 2024 audit. I don't know where that speculation comes from. We are appearing on April 8th. We answered their questions. They put us back on the schedule. We are going forward with our application. And our hope is that they will provide us with the ability to finance the debt that we're all talking about.
But I just wanted to know why because it seems like it was, the audit was rejected. But if it wasn't rejected and now we're going.
No, it wasn't rejected. I don't know. I mean, sometimes dealing with Trenton is its own experience. State government, having been a member there for 12 years. I have stories, but this isn't the time or place. We're confident that they will give us a fair hearing and we'll be coming back to you and the governing body with the results of that hearing.
If we're unable to secure approval for the bonds, what is the contingencies plan? Will we be facing a one-time tax increase next year? I have heard that some residents may have already received notices about increases, and I'd like clarification on that.
Right.
I heard it. I want to clarify it. If it's not true, I want to know.
And as you continue to, just speak closer to the microphone. We're having online issues. I apologize, yes, so.
So if that's not true,
I'm sorry, say it again, Jen, please. Residents have been told what?
that they're gonna have a one-time tax increase next year of about $1,100.
Now, speculation was if, and I think we discussed it in a previous meeting, if the entire debt was put on the budget in a single year, it would be $1,100 per household. We are not doing that. The Board of Education does not expect us to do that. That is not going to happen.
Okay. Like I said, I heard through people that they had gotten letters that this could just be people.
We didn't send out any letters like that.
I wanted to make sure. Under our structure, what authority does the council have to review, intervene in, and initiate disciplinary action when serious financial mismanagement occurs?
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, that's, so first of all, the authority to mete out mete out disciplinary action would rest with the administration. Certainly, there is a provision in the borough code, which in certain circumstances authorizes the council to do so.
Thank you.
So I guess that brings me to this question. Will the council consider implementing stronger oversight mechanisms such as a finance committee or independent audit review? And since the council already plays a role in confirming appointments, can we explore ordinances to change that would allow the council, when necessary, to take disciplinary actions? If there's already something like that, but I'm thinking that you guys need stronger authority here.
Well, there is an ordinance, there is provision in the borough code to deal with that. Got to be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. So I don't think there's anything that needs to be added to the ordinance at this particular point in time.
Okay, so
I'll certainly explore it since you're bringing it up.
okay.
Council President, can I offer a comment?
Certainly.
You had mentioned independent oversight. So we posted the other day, the Office of the State Comptroller is doing an audit for the benefit of anyone in the audience who wants to ask us about that. They're looking at various processes and financial transactions within the borough for the years 23, 24, and 25. So independent state authority coming in to look at those things. And if they issue a public report, obviously you'll see. So that's an independent outside review beyond what we do as a government.
That was okay.
And also, I gotta mention that last year we spent considerable effort providing the same comptroller's office documentation from 22, 23, and 24. They were doing a 3-year audit last year. They're back doing a 3-year audit with 3 different years. 2 years overlapped and in 25. And many of the documents that we provided last year between my office and the finance officer's office, payroll records, employee manuals, union contracts, just unbelievable amount of stuff, plus in-person interviews with myself and the staff. I expect them to do that again.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Evening.
Chelsea Frank Rivera. I
Thank
have some questions about the, some of the positions on the salary ordinance. So is the website coordinator new? I don't remember that one. Is that a new position?
Mayor?
We, as you may remember, had a website coordinator for years here. K.R. Barbary had the job, and then that ended sometime past. This is the first time it's been added to the ordinance. And we've now posted it internally, and we're about to post it publicly.
The HR clerk, I seem to recall that that was a stipend position. It was like $5,000. I believe the BA used to have it in years past. Are we making that a regular part-time job now?
No, currently it's being done by my administrative assistant, and she gets the same amount of money Brandon Umbo was getting. I think we passed that ordinance or resolution some months ago.
That's
So,
5,000?
I think it's 8,000. Brandon was getting 8. I think she's getting 8.
So is there a reason we're putting it on here with the range up to 30 grand? Because 30 grand would be a regular part-time job.
I think that carried over. I'd have to go back and look at the history of it, but it's currently paid at 8.
For the clerk's office, I see a part-time borough clerk. Are we adding one of those?
We already have one. It's sitting right there, and we've been paying her since last year without being on the salary ordinance. So to answer Councilman's question, one of the things we did, when we found the income that Councilman Seeley brought up that we were paying Captain Shapley below what was on the ordinance, we went back to payroll and had payroll scrub the ordinance, and that's why you see a lot of those red lines on there, for
That's
instance.
for Melissa currently.
Correct.
But
We're not hiding, we're not
No, no, I-
formalizing what she's already getting by ordinance.
But according to this ordinance now, you're gonna have a borough clerk, a part-time borough clerk, and an assistant to the borough clerk.
You have a borough clerk, but she's a part-time borough clerk, and that's Melissa.
And her assistant is the handsome gentleman too.
I understand it. My concern is we're building all of this into here so that eventually we can just go ahead and throw another person in there.
No.
You know, you would think, right? Come on.
No, that's not our intention. What we're trying to do is make this document more, what's the right word? It's reflective of what actually happens here. At council's request, we agree with it. That's what we're trying to do.
Okay. And the finance manager that we've had for a while now, it was never on here before. Is there like an actual job description for that job? Like, does it become real somehow?
There is a job description if you want me to share, I'll share it with you.
Okay, and that's been put into the code and all, and like it's like a real job now?
It's been a real job for a while.
Well,
It
actually,
predated me.
yes, I know that. It was a make-believe job before you. Somebody was in it and somebody was getting paid for it, but it was make-believe because it didn't exist anywhere. So my question is that we're now going to make it exist.
I think that's the intent here, and we'll share the job description.
And for senior services, there's the part-time coordinator of senior services, but I thought that that job was eliminated when we made the community affairs position full-time. So we used to have a part-time senior service coordinator and a part-time community affairs person, which actually equaled the salary of the former full-time senior services person. So I thought when we brought the community services person full-time, we were eliminating this part-time.
There is no one serving in that part-time post. We have a director of community services. Amongst the responsibilities for the job is managing the division of senior services. And
They will do this job being a full-timer, correct?
correct,
So we're not gonna hire then a part-time coordinator for senior services.
no, No. We haven't and we're not going to. It's still on there, I guess, as a legacy.
Okay. I won't even get into the program administrator, we'll deal with that at another time. However, I do wanna note, I don't know if you've noticed, but the guy who is driving your seniors to the ShopRite on Tuesdays is making more than the EMT who's gonna come to your house and save you. Okay? So maybe we should look at that, because it seems to be a little bit off. I'd rather pay the full-time EMTs the 60 grand than the bus driver. And, being a former EMT, I can tell you, we call ambulances as buses, we drive the bus. So maybe you could just call them bus drivers and give them that salary, okay? Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Speaking of really calling on for 1 2 minutes. What was the reason, I think I missed it, what was the reason that we were given that they adjourned the finance board for this month?
There, yeah.
I think I answered it, but I'll be happy to answer it again. LFB took us off the March 11th schedule because they wanted some more information about our insurance situation. And we met with them last week and provided what they needed. We're back on the schedule for April 8th.
There's also, in the audit, there was a section where it has about pensions. I brought this up before about the part-time pensions. You make over $5,000 a year and you're a part-timer, you're supposed to be enrolled in one particular pension, which was also in the audit. You go down, you look, it says that there's been no money put into that pension fund since 2007. So I went back to see if we actually e-coded it, and we did. We have an ordinance going back from 2007 saying that the people are supposed to be enrolled in this pensions. So what I want to know is, why was that not, why do we continue year after year after year with the audit and not putting these people into this pension program? I mean, I brought it up every single time. I brought it up when I first came back to the meetings in November, December. We said we were gonna look into it. I had a conversation with you in your office about it at one point. I mean, when are we gonna do this? Because at some point, this is gonna really come back and bite us.
You want to update where we are?
So we had, so there was money allocated in last year's budget, and there'll be money allocated in this year's budget from DCRP. Our question calling becomes, not whether or not people should be in it, but how to get them back into it now that they're long gone. A question we've raised 2 pensions at DCRP. A current employee would be easy. You give them the opportunity, you send them on their way. Previously, the council was advised that part-timers like Ms. Ronco were not allowed to be, and that is incorrect. So how do we fix that? And then the question that I've asked DCRP is, traditionally, I hate that. I hate this chair. Comic relief. So anyway, traditional pension systems require an individual to be vested after 10 years. That vesting includes the individual contribution and the contribution of the municipality at 10 years. But if the municipality has failed to enroll the person in the DCRP, then the municipality, as you know, is fully responsible for the amount, both the individuals donation, if you will, or contribution at whatever rate they would have chosen, and the contribution of the municipality. So let's just say an individual could have been in it, but was not offered the opportunity, and they could have been here 11 years. That means that upon the instant in time that that contribution is made to the DCRP, that person is therefore eligible because they're vested, because they had been there 10 years, and they can get their money out. When DCRP tells me how to do that, Sean and I are going to start the process, but they're not, we can't get a clean answer.
I've said it before, I know that there was an incident someplace in Somerset County, I don't know if it was Boundbrook, or if it was Scotch Plains, or if it was Bridgewater, it was one of those towns where this exact situation happened, it was at the 10-year mark.
So it was like, around 2016, 2017. And that town had to pay back not only the 5.5% that people had to contribute, but the 3.0% that you guys had to contribute, plus all the interest.
Right.
So my concern is, we need to get an answer on this, we need to get this taken care of, because you're talking about 20 years worth of part-time employees. At potentially 8% of their salary all those years plus interest. I mean, that's a lot, we got a $3.3 million deficit as it is. You're looking at how many employees, you're talking about, part-time, DPW workers that we had and part-time, people that got stipends all these years for these different positions that everybody was in. This is gonna be a lot of money. I don't understand why it's been done in other towns, but for some reason, we can never seem to get answers on any of that. It's been done in other towns because I've researched the hell out of this for the last 3 years. I brought this up during Jackie's administration, multiple years. I brought it up now 2 or 3 times here. For some of those part-time employees, that pension could be a big deal and they should have been enrolled. You could bet your ass that if the cops weren't enrolled in their pension, we'd be doing something about it. You could bet your bottom dollar.
We're not ignoring it. One of the issues, as Fred elaborated, is first trying to determine the pool of people, identifying the pool, and then getting the state to help us and say, okay, this is what you've got to do to make this right. But we're certainly not ignoring it.
We have old payroll records. All you have to do is run a payroll for a year and find out who made more than $5,000.
Again, we're trying to determine the pool of people and then get some help from the state. We're not ignoring the issue. We're working on it.
In regards to this, maybe we have an update next month of where we are on that, please. That'd be great.
One other thing with the audit, it said in 2024, the general capital fund adjustments were made. Amongst improvement authorizations that effectively reclassified expenditures after original approval, the amounts involved were significant. Does anybody know what the word significant? Is it $10,000 significant or is it $100,000 significant? Do we know what the significant amount of money was that was?
It was over $200,000 at the direction of Mr. Umba.
Okay. Do we know where that money was going to and where it went to? Like, do we know what the resolution was for and then where the money went?
So it wasn't by resolution, there was a journal entry done by my predecessor, Ms. Natasha Turchin, where it said, journal entry per Brandon Umba, charging the general capital fund for expenses that I am not able to figure out why that entry was done. There was no support documentation aside from per Brandon Umba. But that's renewal.
I have no idea how happy this makes me. Thank you. I'm not gonna say anything else. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question on finance, just correcting for me. Stipends, they're not pensionable, are they?
Yes, they are.
I was told they were.
Yes, they are.
I'm curious, they are now.
That was the entire conversation previously, with stipends not being eligible for DCRP. Yeah, the previous attorney provided incorrect.
Really, Vicky?
I guess so, because I was told for years that we did stipends to avoid higher pension costs out. Apparently it's otherwise. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Sean and I, just to reiterate, so Sean and I spent considerable time trying to figure out how to figure this out. Yes, I can reach out and find a personnel record. Then I could say they made $5,000 in 2017, and then, that's an actuarial kind of mathematical computation where somebody has to say, to make this right, you need to set aside $23,624.18 for that person, and this is why. Yes, we know we have to do it. Yes, we know that liability out there and it's considerable. But the math from point A to point B, because it's all about the math, is what we're having a challenge with.
So just to clarify, anybody who is receiving this stipend,
I mean,
were they considered a borough employee?
they are employees because they're covered under our insurance.
If they're on a stipend and they weren't necessarily on the salary ordinance, they were still considered a borough employee and then entitled to, that's what we're saying?
Correct, because they are covered by our insurance. If Ms. Ronco, as the animal patrol officer, who at the time was given a stipend for her duties in a position, had gotten in trouble, she would have been covered by the borough's insurance because she is an employee. Is she paid by stipend or otherwise? Where's my favorite OEM director? In the back. Okay, he's covered. When he stands in the middle of the street doing his thing, he is covered.
Good.
Okay, he is covered.
Thanks to the party.
Okay, when somebody hits his car, it's covered. When he hits somebody else, it would be covered. Don't do that. So yes, he's covered.
Thanks for fixing him.
Is there a way to, contact the DCA with respect to the towns that have done it prior to us? Cause I know that there have been other towns, cause I really.
That's all correct. So there was somebody in that town who had that ability to do that, or they have been tracking it for years. I will tell you, for instance, that we in Spotswood and Milltown and Bloomfield and some other places that when Melissa leaves, the police department, he retires with 25 years of charitable service. We pay him, let's say he has 100 hours of vacation time that he rolls over. We roll over and pay him that 100 hours based on his current hourly rate. Now, I've been to towns where they have a spreadsheet that shows how much you were paid at the time you earned that hour. Like that.
No,
So when the officer retires, because I have 25 hours, they pull out this spreadsheet and say, no, we're not paying you 100 hours at your current rate. You know, you earned this as a probationary rookie down in the police academy 25 years ago, and we're paying you $8.
Wait, no, I understand.
But that accounting, what I'm saying is insane.
I completely understand, but at some point, it's gonna
Somebody
be
should.
more insane. At
Yes.
some point, we're gonna have to hire somebody to do this particular job.
Correct. We don't want to do that. We're trying to figure out how to avoid hiring somebody.
Again, like I said, I know it's been done in other towns in the past because I went down the rabbit hole when I did
Absolutely.
this. So maybe we need to contact the DCA to find out, because there's employees that have been part-time for 10, 15, 20 years that are entitled to that. You know what I mean, so I just wanna make sure that we get them. I mean, it doesn't affect me because I've been here long enough, but I mean, it does affect other people that have been here for a considerable amount of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Have anyone else? Anyone online? No. Have a motion to close the.
Make a motion to close the public portion.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to adjourn the caucus meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, a few moments, then we'll be back for regular. Thank you.
That's where we have to.
I hate.
You know what I'm saying?
I like to prove that all. I don't like it either. That's like.
When you look at the total lines.
Yeah, I'll call you and let you know what's going on.
This meeting was called for Tuesday, March 17, 2026 at 7:30 PM at Borough Hall located at 77 Summerhill Road, Spotswood, New Jersey, pursuant to provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-8B. The public may choose to attend the meeting electronically via Zoom. This meeting was advertised on the Spotswood website and in the Home News Tribune. We rise for a salute to the flag, and after, we're going to take a moment of silence for the passing of Mrs. Diane Barlow. For many years, she was a library chairwoman, trustee, and also mother of former Mayor Tom Barlow. We'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic and one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. You may be seated. Roll call, Ms. Allen?
Councilman Larry Kramer,
Here.
Councilman Nicholas Legakis,
Here.
Councilwoman Dawn Schwartz,
Here.
Councilman Ed Seeley,
Here.
Council President Andrew Zaborni,
Here.
Mayor Rich O'Brien.
Here.
Next, I will take a motion second, and this will be followed by roll call to accept the minutes of February 2nd, 2026, and this is going to include the caucus and regular meeting.
Motion to accept the February 2nd, 2026 caucus and regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Calling of the roll, council members Kramer,
Yes.
Legakis.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Zaborni.
Yes. Ordinance.
Next up, just a reminder that ordinance 2026-04 was tabled at the last meeting and it will remain on the table. Ordinance 2026-05, this is a second reading, public hearing and adoption. An ordinance of the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 72 Fees, Article 1, Schedule of Fees, Section 72-5, Fee Schedule Report, and Construction Permit Fees. I'll take a motion second, and this will be followed by roll call to open the public hearing.
Make a motion to open to the public for ordinance 2026-05.
Second.
Calling of the roll, council members Kramer,
Yes.
Legakis.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Zaborni.
Yes. If anyone at this time would like to come up to discuss ordinance 2026-05 for public session,
Make a motion to close the public portion.
second?
Calling of the roll, council members Kramer,
Yes.
Legakis.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Zaborni.
Yes.
I'll now take a motion second, followed by roll call to adopt ordinance 2026-05.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2026-05.
Second.
Calling of the roll, council members Kramer,
Yes.
Legakis.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Zaborni.
Yes.
Next up is ordinance 2026-06. This is a first reading introduction, public hearing scheduled for April 20th, 2026. An ordinance amending and supplementing the salary ordinance of the Borough of Spotswood entitled An Amendment to an Ordinance Fixing and Establishing the Salaries and Wages of Certain Non-Bargaining Unit Employees of the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
Like to make a motion to pull ordinance 2026-06.
Second.
Calling of the roll, council members Kramer,
Yes.
Legakis.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Zaborni.
Yes.
This ordinance is now tabled. Resolutions under consent agenda. Is there any member of the governing body that would like any of the resolutions pulled from the consent agenda before you vote on them all together?
I'd like resolution 2026-67 pulled from the agenda.
Second.
I will take that vote separately. First up are the resolutions under consent agenda, which will be from resolution 2026-73 to resolution 2026-93. I'll take a motion second, and this will be followed by roll call.
We're not doing 73 stuff. Oh. Okay.
We'll vote no for that. Let's see.
So we're gonna vote separately on that. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-84 through 2026-93.
Second.
Calling of the roll, council members Kramer,
Yes.
Legakis.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Seeley.
Yes.
Zaborni.
Yes. On those, pardon me, just look at my notes. Yes.
Okay. Now we're gonna go back to resolution 2026-67.
No.
We have to table it.
Oh,
Oh, wait.
Yeah, yes, we have to table it.
make a motion to table resolution 2026-67.
Seconded,
Calling of the roll, council members Kramer,
yes.
Legakis.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Seely,
Yes.
Zaborni.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2026-67 is tabled. Next up is resolution 2026-73.
Make a motion to, no,
We're just voting now.
we didn't vote on it yet.
So we make a motion to vote no on resolution 2026-73.
Yes.
Second,
Okay, calling of the roll, and this will be to vote no on resolution 2026-73. Council members Kramer,
No.
Legakis.
Oh, we're voting, so we're just saying no or saying yes.
The yes vote would be to vote no on this resolution.
Okay.
Call it again.
Yes.
Yes on the no.
Yes.
Thank you. Schwartz,
yes.
Seely,
No.
Zaborni.
Yes.
Thank you. All done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for your patience, and thank you again. So let's go with comments and reports from our council members. Councilwoman Schwartz, please.
Hi, good evening, everybody. The library has rescheduled their free hearing screening for Tuesday, April 28th from 10 to 11 a.m. A nurse from St. Peter's Community Health Services will be available. Please call to register. Saturday is the New Jersey Makers Day. Drop in from 11 to 1 and make, create, and participate something new. No registration is required for that. And the library will be closed on Saturday, April 4th for Easter weekend. The Division of Senior Services will be holding their trip to IHOP on the 18th, which is tomorrow. There's still a seat on the bus, pickups at 9:30 a.m. This is so cool. A trip down memory lane with Ashley Kresge. How things used to be greener. This is going to be a discussion that I wish I could attend. It's Tuesday, March 24th at 2:15. Please call to sign up for that. The Friends of Spotswood Seniors are holding their bake sale on Tuesday, March 31st from 10 to 12, and I will be there as well for Cookies for the Councilwoman to participate in that as well. Recreation, their Easter egg scramble will be Saturday, March 28th at 2 o'clock. It is free for ages 1 to 12. No registration is necessary. They will have a sensory activity session from 1:15 to 1:45. Flag football begins on the 29th, and they have 105 students registered, grades K through 8. Games will be on Sunday from 10 to 12. Earth Day on Saturday, April 18th will be at the Municipal Building from 10 to 12, and they will be planting a pollinator garden behind the recreation sheds. Keep these dates in mind. Community yard sale, Saturday, May 16th and 17th. Fishing derby, Saturday, June 6th. Car show, Saturday, June 13th. And Spark in the Park on Saturday, June 27th. And the next meeting of the Recreation Committee will be April 8th at 7 o'clock.
Oh. I want to make a comment about something for what.
You can make a comment.
Okay, I have a question regarding fishing derby. We have a risk at the lake right now with geese, and we have a sign down there stating the obvious, don't touch the birds, etc. I just want to bring that as a concern to maybe replan,
Well, the date is set right now for June 6th because I believe that's the day they get the free fish, but I will bring that up to.
Correct.
I will bring that up to Mrs.
Yeah.
Masucci because obviously if the lake is not healthy, then I would guess they wouldn't do it, but I'll make sure that I bring that up to her.
Right, and yeah, thank you so much. Just want to bring that to everyone's attention. Thank you so much for all you do. Councilman Sealy?
Okay, well, no point in going to engineering report, you read that already, so we'll skip that one. We get down to grants, grants currently in applications in progress. Our federal appropriations grant sponsored by Senator Booker. The money varies on the project. The same for Senator Kim, who also has another project going as well. The 26 Q3 Firehouse Subs Grant for fire has been applied for $40,000. And the 26 Q3 Firehouse Subs Plant for EMS, which is up to $40,000 as well. We've also submitted and pending other grants for federal appropriation for police communication for $1,013,434. Modernization of our communication system. There's FY for the year 26 NJDCA local recreation improvement grant of $75,000 we're applying for. There's a 26 new NJDCA rec opportunities for individuals with disabilities for $20,000 we've applied for. There's a NJDHTS ticket or ticket $7,000. And then there's the NJCCIC for year 2023 for cybersecurity. Technical assistance for, That's it for grants. Water resource meetings that I attend in New Brunswick. Nothing new on flood control whatsoever, but if anybody's interested and you're familiar with the area of Old Bridge, which has to do with London Terrace, New Hampton Village, they're going to build 450 townhouses there. They were on the old landfill. They originally were going to put 2 warehouses there, but that fell through because there's no tax rateable income. The warehouses aren't moving right now. So they decided in their infinite wisdom to build more homes.
Is that the ones off of Pitchell Road?
Pitchell Road.
No, London Terrace is off of Ernst.
No, if you're driving between London Terrace, going through London Terrace,
Yeah.
back there.
Okay.
Which, by the way, next to it is the marsh. So that ought to be entertaining. That's my report, and everybody have a happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you so much, Councilman. Councilman Kramer?
So I met with DPW about 4 times over the last month, discussing their wants and needs. And as soon as I can schedule an appointment, I met with them again today. As soon as I can schedule an appointment with the mayor, I'd like to go over their wants and needs with the mayor and the governing body. And lake is the lake. There's nobody for me to talk to about the lake, so that's it.
Thank you so much, sir. Councilman Regatas.
Thank you, Council President. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Nothing really new with the Spotswood Fire Department in terms of they're still looking for volunteer firefighters and still accepting donations for the RJ Oro Scholarship. Just wanted to also mention Spotswood Police Department. They posted their new blotter on March 10th for the month of February. And it's on social media if you want to check out the information for the month of February. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor LeBlanc?
Thank you, Council President. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Thanks for hanging in there, those of you in the audience and those of you who are at home. I'd echo the council's condolence. I had the opportunity to convey the borough's sympathies to the Barlow, Peabody, Hayes family the other day. Diane will be truly missed. She was a life force in this community. I also was able to convey our condolences to the Grennan family who lost John Grennan, longtime congregant at St. Peter's and member of the soccer club. We coached together for years, so our sympathies to that family as well. And as always, I'm proud to be the mayor of Spotswood. Thank you.
B.A. Carr?
Good, sir.
Thank you. Sean, anything to add? Thank you so much, sir. All right, clerk's office, Ms. Halloman and Anthony.
Thank you. From the clerk's desk, a little luck to share, file on time and keep stress out of the air because annual financial disclosure statements will be emailed to those required to file on April 1st. That includes every single one of you on this dais. Please note that failure to file may result in a personal fine from the state, not the borough, of up to $500, so best not to test your luck. As always, I am here to help. As of March 1st, public notices are no longer published in the newspaper and are now posted exclusively online. The link is available on the borough website homepage and the state's Attorney General website. Anthony and I will be attending the Middlesex County Municipal Clerks meeting this Thursday, which includes training on new purchasing requirements and updates from the DCA. And with that, a little festive cheer. May luck be with you all throughout the year. Thank you.
Melissa, you're gonna send us a reminder that we.
Don't you worry.
Thank you for all you do. Both of you, thank you so much. Mr. Sachs?
Yeah, the only thing I think I could just update the public is, you may have read in the newspaper that the appellate division ruled on the body worn camera lawsuit involving the Gannett newspaper. If the public will recall, and the council will recall, Judge Toto back in 2024 ruled against Gannett newspaper on their application to have the body worn camera disclosed to the public and obviously in the media. That was a lawsuit that was filed by former Mayor Palmer and also by the Borough of Spotswood at that time. The case was appealed to the appellate division, and the appellate division reversed Judge Toto and ordered that the body worn camera could be disclosed to the public and could be published, I guess, or reported in the media, subject to further redaction by the Middlesex County prosecutor. That, my understanding is that has to be done within a certain period of time. I think it was 60 days or 90 days. And I'll keep the borough apprised of that. I will tell you that since the borough was a plaintiff in that action, I was instructed by the administration and by the borough council not to file an appeal to the New Jersey Supreme Court, which would be the next course of action that could be taken in this matter. I instructed our insurance company that the Borough of Spotswood was not interested in filing an appeal of the appellate division opinion, which in my opinion was a very comprehensive opinion, not likely to be overturned by the New Jersey Supreme Court. Not even sure they're even going to consider it, but I put that position and set that position forth to our insurance carrier. Now, Mayor Palmer may decide, or former Mayor Palmer may decide to appeal that decision. Unfortunately, the insurance company would provide coverage for her to do so, which almost seems illogical, but that's the position of the insurance company. So I'll keep the public apprised of what's happening.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, for my report, happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. Board of Ed meeting was tonight, and I want to welcome our Board of Education members, our Board of Ed President Dan Lennon in the back, and the Superintendent Mr. Visco. Welcome. And their next meeting will be Tuesday, April 18th, across the street over at the high school. And coming up this weekend, I understand Frozen. Frozen will be the play over there at the high school, so check it out if you have the opportunity to do so. Spring break, March 30th through April 6th here in Spotswood, just as well. Had a wonderful meeting with Doug Service last week at the EMS building. Got to have a nice tour of the building, but also most important of the new ambulance. And it's much more narrower, really great technology on the ambulance. I was very about those vehicles, but I really was very impressed with all the technology, and they're ready to go. There's just a few more paperwork items to put together on that, and then we'll be seeing the ambulance on the road coming up very soon. So thank you to all they do, just as well. Office of Emergency Management, Jose and I have been in contact with one another, really great conversations. I do want to thank for all his service, but also on Sunday, I had the great opportunity of being in the South Amboy St. Patty's Day Parade. And I was able to wave, and we had a lot of love thrown at Spotswood as I was driving by in this one car. But I did run into a couple of our great CERT members, so thank you so much for your service, Marianne. And many other team members were there, and thank you to OAM for organizing as such and keeping up to date. Spring is coming up, a lot of summer events. I know Jose and his whole team is working hard for our safety and to get all the events launched. So thank you for all you do once again. As always, St. Peter's, the shop, check it out. We're St. Peter's, our great programs benefiting from many charities. And also, don't forget Alice's Cup. If you have the opportunity to donate, do so. And again, another wonderful charity in our community as well. So happy St. Patrick's Day, and always proud to serve, and Spotswood proud. Thank you. Have a motion to open up to the, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, great. Sorry, thank you.
That's a brief thing on the geese. Be wary of the droppings as well, since you can't avoid them. They are diseased as well, so just kind of watch your dogs if you're walking them through there. Stuff like that, you just gotta be careful of where your kids are playing somewhere, you don't want them reaching down there and playing with that stuff. So please be aware of that.
Thank you so much. Sorry, thank you. Okay. Open to the public. I have a motion open to the public.
Make a motion to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And now's the opportunity to come up and vote for a public. All are welcome. Name and address again, please.
Lisa Wall from Newark Avenue.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just had a quick question regarding Mrs. Bronco's question before. Forgive me, I don't know too much about it, but the unpaid pension funds for part-time people, in the event that a percentage of those people would be deceased, where do those funds go? Do they go to the family, or are they wiped off books, or can someone explain that?
To quote a previous wife, that's a good question, and we don't know. I mean, think about 20 years of employees that are actually finding where they are. I can tell the council that we've had significant challenges just tracking down our retirees. When we did the switch of our medical benefits, or the retirees who have dental benefits, trying to find 20 years of part-time employees could be a daunting task, but yes.
So just noting that maybe, I know she was mentioning other towns who have done this, maybe there's a precedent for that to look for. There's a question mark. One other question is, with the lake, when will we know when it's safe? Are we working with anyone in particular to give us those answers, or?
Mayor, is there anything, I know you've reached out in county, et cetera, but is there any feedback on anything? Certainly.
I don't know the lake to be unsafe. We had a concern obviously involving geese. We've been in contact with everyone throughout the state and county, and our health department has been involved as well. We'll have to circle back with those folks and make sure that the lake is as safe as we can make it.
Just noting that if we're thinking about a fishing event that's going to be postponed, people do fish out of the lake, so just.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ronco, Winning Team and Alvin. I was in contact with some Fish, Game and Wildlife people and some raptor people with respect to this. My concern was that there was a bald eagle eating one of these dead geese on the lake, which is a large concern of mine because there's not that many of them and they're in pairs. But right now what's happening is that they're saying, what I was told was that as long as there's any goose that died at the lake, the virus is still there. So we're just gonna have to keep an eye out for what's going on and whether or not these geese are still dying at the lake. This is a humongous problem throughout the entire state. It's not just us. I mean, Monmouth County there was 1,100 geese that they found over the course of 3 days down there that were dead. I mean, it's a huge, humongous problem. And Councilman Sealy was correct when he stated that if you get it on your shoe and you walk in your house and, it's very difficult for it to be transmitted from people, from geese to people, unless you're physically handling the geese. It's not, it's a very rare event. I mean, it can happen, it's very zoonotic. Transferring it to your dog is a whole different situation. Because that's going from animal to animal, so that's a completely different situation there. It does last, what I'm being told. In the winter, it lasts longer because it's kind of like the goose is there, it's dead, it's really not decaying as quickly. In the summer, it's not as long, but it can last up to 6 months after a goose is dead. So even if you just had one, I'm concerned now because we do have ducks that are showing up that are dead, so it's going into the smaller species. But like I said, I've tried as much as I could to get as much information as I can. I received an old request. I had asked for an email in that old request, clarifying something. And Larry and Mayor, I'd like to have a conversation with you afterwards if I could. I don't want to discuss it here, because it's a potential issue, so I just wanted to afterwards, just to show you, if you don't mind. Sure. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, please?
Dan Lennon, Spotswood Board of Education President. One quick thing to build off of the geese concern. Is the DPW doing any kind of cleaning along the sidewalks along there? We do have children who walk to Appleby who live in the tree streets and that other side of Spotswood. So obviously our kids are our first and foremost concern. We want to make sure that they're able to get to school safely. So is there anything?
I'm not aware of us doing anything specific, but we'll talk to Matt and John tomorrow. Maybe they can scrub the sidewalks over on that side of the lake.
I appreciate that, thank you. Council President, just a question on a statement we made earlier. We know you're meeting with both the Finance Board on April 8th, and then you're going to meet at your regularly scheduled meeting on the 20th to discuss. Am I correct in that?
Yes.
We are going to respectfully request that council holds a special meeting prior to your next scheduled meeting. We do understand you're going to be getting a lot of information and you do need the time to review that. Our board would take the same time to review if it was something that big. But 12 days is, I think, more than enough time. So we're asking if you can try and find a date. You're going to have enough time to question administration, question your attorney, to get any questions answered. So we're just hoping that can happen because I told you the last meeting, the clock has run out. Because if you go to April 20th, there's a 20-day stop period that could push us getting the money back to the borough, back to the schools into June. If something happens, if something goes wrong with bond council, with anything, we are now at the 0 hour and we are looking at a catastrophic event for the next school year. So we cannot have that happen.
If I might respond.
Yes.
I was contacted about the April 8th and they requested a special meeting. I put it out to council. We were not able to get all of us at one time. I put it out for a following, and then still we were lacking a full, should you say, for the full hearing, the full vote. I'll put it out there again, so we'll discuss it.
Council or?
Correct, and also at one point, if I may, Mr. Sachs had a conflict as well with the schedule. We are going to go into close tonight, and that's one of the concerns. And I'm gonna ask, all right, what's everybody's calendar look like, so we could continue to. Now we're all together in a person rather than email. One by one, that's what I do, one by one. So we'll be trying to find a date. So I respect that.
Thank you. I'm very, I think we've been more than patient with the borough. We have been going along to get along, to stay friendly with everybody. I am no longer at that point. In November, we were told by Senator Henry, there was no help coming. We knew that this process should have started in November. We had multiple meetings. We came in on New Year's Eve to have a meeting. This process should have started then. Because it didn't, and then the 2024 audit hit, and then finance board canceled. And everything that has happened is now still affecting us. At our meeting previously, which some people here were at, a lot of questions came up about programming, about different things we can do, and we explained. We have all these plans, we can't do them, this is affecting us, this was a wire transfer. We did not want to be involved, if you've seen emails, you know, we didn't want to do wire transfers. But here we are. We can't let this affect us any longer. I understand everybody up there is a volunteer, council-wise, as are we. So I understand life gets in the way, you all have jobs, you all have other commitments, I get that. My problem is 1,650 kids. This has gone on long enough. I don't care if it's 4 days before your meeting, I don't care if it's 4 hours before your meeting. I'm asking respectfully, I think we've been patient enough. We need to move this along. Because quite frankly, the way this has gone, we don't have the faith that this will go smoothly. That's been eroded. I don't put that on the council. I understand how everything works. But we're just not in a position now where we can let this continue to go on. So if there was anything you guys can do, we would appreciate it as a district. You know, you've been dealing with it. You've got a lot thrown at you. You know, your auditor got a lot thrown at you that you guys had nothing to do with. That you now have to clean up, but that's what sitting in these chairs means. What it means to us, what it means to you guys. We thank you guys for everything you have done so far and the seriousness you've taken this matter. We know that a lot of this stuff is out of your hands, but if this is something you can control and you can get done, we would just like to have that happen as quickly as possible so we can get this moving. So that we can put a lot of people's fears to bed about what's going to happen in the district next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Sid.
Jen Spiso, 273 Crestwood Drive, Milltown. I am the Milltown Vice President of the Board of Education, and I am the Milltown rep in Spotswood. And just to piggyback off of what Mr. Lennon said, any delay on a vote on this could cause some kind of program elimination or a delay in us doing new programs that we'd like to interact with. Could really cost Spotswood a lot more money than you may be analyzing, because Milltown students will not come here. They will go to the magnet school, or they may go to St. Joe's, and because we pay to come to this school, it could be even a bigger hit. And I just want you guys to take that into consideration, that not getting this money could cost you even more money. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public? Tim, anyone online? No.
Make a motion to close the public portion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. We are going to a closed session tonight. Ms. Heller?
Resolution 2026-94, whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist. Now therefore be it resolved by the Borough of Spotswood, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion of any action upon the hereinafter specified subject matters. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows: potential litigation. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter shall be made public when confidentiality is no longer required. This resolution shall take effect immediately. I would like a motion, second, and this will be followed by roll call.
Make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Calling of the roll, council members, Kramer,
Yes.
Legakis.
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Sealy,
Yes.
Zaborni.
Yes. Just for everybody's notice, April 20th, 7:30 p.m.